So in our Piers Morgan versus Jordan Peterson episode, we touched a bit on how Jordan Peterson's Muslim fans have turned their back on him. But there is much more to this story, as the slow fade of his Muslim followers started about a year ago with one video titled Message to Muslims. Now, after we previewed a bit of that, many of you were very curious to know more about what he said. So, here it is.
Hi all. I've been informed by many sources and also observed online, not least because of my discussions with a variety of Muslim thinkers, supporters, and critics, that I have developed an audience in the Muslim world. I would first like to say that I could not be more pleased or honored that such is the case. It has been so heartening to see that my biblical lectures, for example, attracted a large Muslim audience, and that the comments from the Muslim watchers and listeners to my YouTube channel and podcast have been so extraordinarily positive. And all this is lovely to see in the aftermath of the extraordinary Abraham Accords, which have laid out the possibility for peace between all the people of the book in an unprecedented manner. And I have something to say as an extension of all of this. Please forgive my presumption, if you would. It is time for those of you in the Muslim world to stop fighting among yourselves, you Shiites and Sunnis, and also time to stop regarding the Christians, and even more specifically, the Jews, as your enemies.
Now, there were several people in the comments who took issue with this part, with sentiments like,
Dr. Peterson, for me, a Persian Shia Muslim who grew up in Canada, you have lost all credibility with this message. I'd like to inform you that in our religion, it is stated that to be a true Muslim, we must respect all other religions that came before us. And guess what? We do. We have the utmost respect for any religion and life on this earth than anyone else. So please excuse me when I unsubscribe from your channel because I can no longer listen to your one-sided, biased opinion and comment and message to the Muslim world. Kindly educate yourself before giving us a lecture on morality.
So for comments like this, it appears to be that they are disgruntled with what they see as Jordan Peterson's complete misunderstanding of the Muslim community.
Why? Not least because you have the enemy located in the wrong place. First, the best place to find Satan, let's say, is within. If you think the true enemy is in someone else's heart, then you haven't thought nearly long enough about the darkness within, and you have therefore fallen prey to the most subtle temptation of the ancient demonic spirit. So your best bet on the spiritual warfare front is to make of yourself and your Muslim practice something so admirable that the light shining from your well-constituted psyches and productive, generous, and wise actions is so intense that people convert to your faith from sheer admiration. There's a goal. Second, far more unites you with the other people of the book, as your own prophet himself, peace be unto him, forthrightly said, than what divides you. You all believe, for example, in a book. You all believe, for example, in God, and believe that you have an ultimate duty to that God. You are all followers of a prophetic tradition, and that is a tradition that unites the wisdom of the past with the vision and voice of those willing to see and speak truly and lovingly in the present. And you are all threatened, in a very real sense, by the system of vengeful Luciferian ideas that currently confronts all that is transcendent, traditional, and valuable on the sexual front, on the familial front, on the conceptual front, on the psychological and sociological front, and, in the final analysis, on the theological front. So, how about we all quit squabbling over trinkets and details and face the real problem?
So here, Jordan has made an attempt to bridge the gap between the different Islamic faiths by listing all of the things that they have in common in an attempt to help them find common ground. But what he received was criticism for what people believe is him talking down to Muslims in comments like,
As much as I have respected Dr. Peterson and many of his views, this is logically inconsistent. He is saying that the place to find Satan is in your own heart and not in others. That being the case, then exactly the same can be applied to Dr. Peterson instead of lecturing down to Muslims. Perhaps seek within your heart, Dr. Peterson, and uproot your prejudice towards Muslims, which must at some level exist for you to talk so patronizingly to them.
Now, for our non-native English speakers, 你可能有发现 Jordan Peterson 讲话真的很文绉绉诶，他用的字我们一般的人很少用诶。他其实有另外一支影片在解释基督教的跟 The War on the West 的故事， and we have not only translated it, but we break down exactly what these complicated words and phrases mean. And you can check it out right now in our 会员区. So now, Jordan will attempt to address what he believes is the appeal of his Muslim fans in the form of his brutal criticism of Xiao Caihong. And what he says won't just resonate with Muslims, but with people of other faiths and even secular people as well.
And I should also point out that it is not the individual carriers of the woke, politically correct, degenerate neo-Marxist ideas that should be regarded as the enemy either. First, we must take the idea that the satanic impulse within is the prime enemy with all due seriousness. Second, we must understand that even those quite possessed by the spirit of Cain that attracts and drives confused and lost people to the Luciferian ideologies of the materialist utopians are, in the ideal, fully redeemable and only partially consumed. Even the committed student ideologues who have, for example, attacked me and others like me rather viciously are generally, say, 90%, or perhaps 80%, reasonable and potentially civilized people who could still see the light. Muslims, reach across the sectarian divide. Shiites, find a Sunni pen pal. Communicate with someone on the other side. Sunnis, do the same. And then, maybe, reach out, tentatively, to a Christian, or even, heaven forbid, a Jew, because perhaps it is time for those who purport to be followers of God to act like it, and to be convincing in those actions, even to those whose premature cynicism and skepticism have driven them into the towers of Babel constructed by the avatars of the resentful intellect. Is there someone in the Muslim world willing to build an electronic system to bring people from the Sunni and Shiite community together? A place where people of goodwill could reach electronically across the divide, person to person, and to formulate the kinds of personal, trusting friendships upon which a lasting peace truly might be founded? A place where Jews and Christians, willing and eager to open communication with their Muslim brothers, might do just that? There's a task for someone looking for a purpose. And it's an open invitation to do just that. If you build it, they will come. If you build it, get in touch with me. You'll figure out how to do it, and I'll publicize it. Thank you, all my Muslim listeners, watchers, and readers, for your kind attention and patience. I wish you well as you strive to become the light in the world that your faith truly demands. Let's see if we can unite as people of the book and negotiate our way toward the paradise that we might truly and jointly attain.
Now, while the majority of the comments were positive, there were still many others who felt disappointed with comments like,
with all due respect to his achievements, the way Dr. Peterson is speaking to Muslims in this message is very arrogant in my view. It's time for Muslims to stop fighting amongst themselves, referring to Shia and Sunni. There are approximately 2,000, not two, different denominations of Christians, each with its own particular truth. They cannot agree amongst themselves. Who is he to tell Muslims to not disagree with each other? I agree with the sentiment that people of the book should unite, that we have more that unites than divides, but it will only be achieved through humility and looking in the mirror also, rather than finger pointing.
And the top-rated comment issued Jordan Peterson a fair warning.
You are a subject matter expert, and you have been an inspiration to me and to countless others. I listen to you very carefully, and I'm proud of you and all the hard work that you do. I'm only asking that you do not stretch yourself too thin. Some topics, such as Islam and the Muslim world, which I have experienced personally, are simply too complex. Please tread carefully. Sunnis do not hate Shias. Islam does not hate Jews or Christians. I'm afraid that you might be falling victim to the same media that you are fighting against. There are a few radical, fanatic, extremist Muslims who I've encountered personally, just like any other group. Don't get trapped.
Now, this all went down a year ago, but then compound that with his tweet encouraging Netanyahu to give them hell on the day of the Hamas attack, and this starts to become fuel for the fire of Muslims leaving in droves. But do you think what he said was founded? Was he fair? Or is he just another non-believer talking down to a religious group? Share your thoughts down below. Keep it civil, yo. Remember to check out our new Huoyan video, and I'll see you on the flip side. Peace!